So before we move on to trying to authenticate from the front end to the back end, let's improve our error messaging just a little bit. So over in the file, helpers.go, we have this method right here, or this function right here, errorJSON, and it works really well. It does exactly what we want. But let's improve it a little bit. And I want to improve it because there are certain errors that we'll be receiving in this function that are actually intended really for developers, and they're really not that readable or not that useful. So, for example, when we have somebody trying to enter a value, like a user account or a user record, into the database, and that email address already exists, we get back a rather lengthy message. Let's just make it a little more readable and a little more friendly. Unfortunately, it's not that difficult. So what I want to focus on this time around are specific database errors. And in the course resources to this lecture, you'll see a link to this page in the Postgres documentation. This lists all of Postgres's error codes, and they all have an error code, and they all appear in the error message in a very specific format. Now, I'm only going to do a few here, but as you can see, there are many potential errors that you might want to trap for. Probably you're not going to want to do all of them because many of them are very rare, or we can't even possibly generate them using our code base. But this list is for your reference. So let's go back to our code and let's modify this function errorJSON. So what I'm going to do is, after this check for the status code, for a custom status code, I'm going to create a new variable, which I'll call custom error, like that. And it's just of type error, right from the standard library, okay? And then I'll put in a switch statement. And we're going to switch with the first case being from the strings package built right into the standard library. We'll use the contains method. Does the error message that we're receiving in this function contain a specific string? So we're looking in error.error, and we received ERR, that variable, as a call to this function. Does it contain this string, SQLSTATE, all uppercase, 23505? Okay, now we saw that error just a little while ago. And then, of course, the colon. In that case, custom error, that variable I just declared a moment ago, is now equal to errors.new, and we'll just give it a custom string. Duplicate value violates unique constraint. Okay? And I think that's a little more readable. And of course, you can put whatever you want in there. And then we just make status code. We'll override that to say it's equal to http.status forbidden, which seems like the correct one. You're forbidden from inserting this data, and here's the reason why. So that's my first case. My second case is the same idea, strings.contains, and again from error.error. And this time I'm looking for SQL state 22001. Okay? Like that. In that case, my custom error is now equal to errors.new. And that error code means that they're trying to insert a value that's too long. For example, an email address that's more than 255 characters, or a last name that's more than 255 characters. So we'll make the error code or the error message just say the value you are trying to insert is too large. And again, we'll give it a custom error, say status code is equal to http.status forbidden. Same status code that I used last time. And we'll do one more. Case strings.contains error.error if it contains SQL state, and this time the code is 23503. And that error is actually a foreign key violation. You're trying to insert something into a table that has a foreign key, and the corresponding foreign key actually doesn't exist. So custom error is equal to errors.new foreign key violation. And again, you can put whatever you want in there. violation. And status code is equal to http.statusforbidden one more time. Okay? And the default, if it doesn't match any of those, I'll just say custom error is now equal to whatever we received as a call to this function. And the only other change I need to make at this point is to say payload.message is equal to, instead of the default error, we'll go custom error.error. Okay? That way, if it doesn't match any of these three cases, then we just use the default error that was passed to us. So that, I think, will be a little more helpful. And again, you can have as many cases as you want in here for as many database violations or errors or whatever the error may be, and you can just put a custom error and the appropriate response code right in this function. Okay, next time around, I want to improve this even a little bit more, the way that we're writing JSON, just to make it more friendly and easier to use on the front end. And we'll get started on that in the next lecture.